Hi guys, this is Hero. I hope you guys can hear me okay. It's been a while since I made a video outside, but the sunlight was just too good and the weather's just been too good where I live in South Florida. So I decided to just make a purely spontaneous freestyle video. And today it's going to be on cars and clothes. Okay, specifically I'm gonna focus on cars because the car is a little bit more important, hence why cars are a little bit more expensive than clothes. So there's a lot of us that, in the material world that we aspire or we, think heavily about driving a nice car, right? And why is this? Well, we have our own, personal life with our own personal problems, either in our home or, with our social circle or whatever. But, however, when we get in our car and we run our errands or we're just driving on the road or something like that, our ego gets very attached to the car that we're driving, and the ego loves to compare itself to other people. Okay, so think about it. When you're on the road with everybody else, you don't know anything about these people, okay, besides most likely the car they're driving. So your ego loves to compare the car you're driving versus the car they're driving, and if your confidence and need for validation, if your confidence is low and your need for validation is high, most likely you're going to pursue, getting a nice car or a luxurious car or a fast car for the wrong reasons. And I'm going to explain a few of those reasons in a little bit. Okay. But this is not just limited to when you're driving around, although that is a very important part of it. This is also included when you're going to the grocery store or something. Okay. You don't know too much about these kind of people. Okay. When you're going to any store, any plaza, any parking lot, anything like that, where you're being exposed to a lot of people that you don't know, your ego loves that, boost of gratification, that false gratification it gets when, you're in a nice car driving, especially, for males who have a little bit, are a little bit more attached to our fire chakra. Your ego's gonna go crazy over that. Okay, it's gonna feed off of that, false sense of gratification, cling on to that, and if we're not aware, this can lead to long-term disaster. Okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the long-term disaster and the different ways that we attach to this gratification that we need to be aware of. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the long-term disaster. Okay, because why would we do something about it if we don't see the long-term consequences? So the long-term consequence of this is that, okay, so if we have a spiritually evolved mindset, okay, ideally, we want to move past the areas of the lower chakras that I've mentioned in my previous videos and move more towards the higher chakras. So what do the lower chakras represent at a really, quick 2-second, general sense? The lower chakra represents, being attached to your physical, your emotional, and your superficial mental, okay? The car you drive has a lot to do with all these, and I'll explain how in a second. But your higher chakras represent, okay, seeing that there's God in everyone and that everyone is just God, okay, and that any of the other nonsense that our ego or the world has conditioned us to be attached to is that it's all it is. It's just an illusion, okay, from a soul level. So if we don't do something about this and we continue down that path of clinging to our nice cars, this could be clothes as well, okay, clothes for especially for women. Just use the mindset of clothes possibly instead of cars, or even if you're into them both, guy or girl, okay, because clothes kind of do the same thing. When you get out of your car and you go into the grocery store, you could feel a certain way about the clothes you have on, or if you go to the mall, not necessarily everyone saw the nice car you pulled up in or something like that, okay. But if we don't do something about this, what's happening is we're clinging more and more to the lower chakras, okay, and we're fueling those energies more and more, okay. You guys may have heard the terms like manifestation or law of attraction or something like that. Yeah, these things all come from based off of the energies we're feeding ourselves, okay. Like the true principle behind these ideas and philosophies. So if we clinging to these lower self energies, this is what we're going to attract over and over again, okay. If we're so attached to how these random people view us and give us the ego boost, we're going to attract people in our life that are having the same kinds of energies, okay? And the people in our life, friends and family that don't have these energies, unfortunately, energetically, the law of attraction states that, your your relationship with these people might be a little bit hampered or affected possibly negatively. Okay, so this is why we want to do something about this. Also, let's just say you don't care at all about your relations with other people. For you personally, this is going to increase your anxiety and depression and all this. Okay, because you're trying to feed the ego. Okay, I mean fulfill the ego by feeding it. This is not a good idea. Okay, this is going to lead to disaster because the ego is just going to get stronger and stronger, but at the same time, it's going to get hungrier and hungrier the more you feed it, and it's never going to be satisfied. It's just going to get hungrier and hungrier. Okay, so now I think I've discussed some of the reasons why this is not a good idea, but I'm going to talk about now the what we can do about it. So I mentioned that there's physical, emotional, and superficial mental. So I kind of covered the superficial mental a little bit. Okay, when we're on the road, or we park somewhere, or we go inside with our nice clothes or something like that, it gives at a fire chakra level, it gives our ego a whole world of that, like I said, that instant gratification. Okay, so it's basically perceiving ourselves as better, or it wants to perceive ourselves as better than everybody else. Or let's just say you drive a really nice Mercedes, right? It's like a Mercedes AMG, and somebody pulls up in like a McLaren or something nicer, right? That's subconsciously that's going to drive you crazy because you're used to, a Mercedes AMG is a pretty nice car. Okay, most likely 99% of the time, if you're going to just regular people places, you're going to have one of the nicer cars. Okay, especially if it's like a S-Class AMG or something like this. But when you see that subconsciously, it's going to affect you pretty negatively. Okay, B, it's still going to feed the ego a little bit because you're going to be like, okay, because you subconsciously have that mindset of pleasing other people. Okay, this guy who came in with this hotshot car or girl, yeah, sure, I have a lower car than them, but your ego kind of gets going on this tangent that, okay, this person is better than me, right? Because you're living at the lower level. This person has a nicer car, better clothes, whatever. This person is better than me at that fire chakra level. But this person is still perceiving me as better than everybody, all the other randoms, in this parking lot that have, are driving whatever, okay, or are wearing whatever. So that's just something to be aware about here. Now, as far as the emotional sense, so as I said, these lower three chakras are tied together, right? So emotionally, this can provide a lot of a nice car can unhealthily express a lot of joy. Okay, let's just say you have a really fast car. When you drive it, let's just say you pound the gas, the joy you feel, you're able to express that, you could say. Okay, but this is not a healthy way of expressing the joy if you are completely reliant on this to express your joy. Okay, because we want to express the emotions naturally. Okay, we do not need to be attached to our emotions and thoughts, right? But what happens is, based off of the superficial world that we live in, we tend to react based off of our emotions and thoughts. So if we feel joy, if we feel this emotion because of this superficial thing, we are reacting in a certain way that is very pleasurable for our ego. Okay, I hope that made sense. So we want to basically detach from the emotions and thoughts that we get. Now, this does not mean that every single, ounce of joy we feel is bad. This is not what I'm saying. But if we realize that we are unhealthily attached to something to provide us joy, this is going to lead to long-term disaster, okay? Because A, that thing is going to get old, or B, that thing is going to get taken away from you, okay? So these are just things to look out for. And C, I mentioned the physical chakra, right? So a lot of us, I'm kind of going to touch on this in a little bit of an interesting manner. There's many different ways that, the lower three chakras are, the thought process behind this are tied into this one concept of driving a really nice car and really nice clothes. Let's just say physically, right? You are not the physically most attractive person. Let's just say hypothetically. Or someone who's not the most physically attractive person, but they have really nice cars and clothes. This cars and clothes is going to make a very false substitute for, you could say, this physical attraction, okay? Or lack of physical affection, or like, yeah, I guess you can say like sexual affection they're getting from everybody else, okay? But because you might be overweight, or, you know, just not the most prettiest or handsomest person, I mean, this is well known, but you could kind of try to compensate that for your, through your cars and your clothes and stuff like that, okay? A really nice, you know, flashy car, or really nice flashy clothes. And, you know, usually this one is a little bit more of the obvious one because it's the lowest chakra, it's the most primal, but I just wanted to touch on it since I'm making a video on it. You know, just be aware if you or someone else is doing this for this reasons, to basically just detach from this, right? Just know that, you know, this is a false, you know, ideology that you're falling into, right? You're trying to compensate for something by doing this, and basically try to detach from the expectations that you have of yourself. That's also the root cause of this, right? You have the root cause of, you know, being so appealable to everybody else. You know, you want to just detach from that. And, you know, if you're really in bad shape and, you know, this is really affecting you, you know, do what you can about actually fixing the situation rather than trying to falsely compensate for the situation, okay? So, I mean, obviously this is easier said than done, but for example, you know, if you are a little overweight, you might want to tackle that actual problem if you want to actually do something about it, versus just, you know, compensating however way you can. And this compensation, it is not just through cars and clothes, okay? People have all kinds of methods of compensating, such as, you know, doing things on social media or doing things in real life while, you know, they're under the influence of certain drugs or alcohol, okay? So this is just all I wanted to cover for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this completely, you know, spontaneous video. Okay, usually I don't script my videos, but I usually think about it like a couple hours before and kind of just have a few mental points to go off of, since my videos, you know, do past 10 minutes. But this one, the weather was just too nice. The sun's hitting me right in the face. The summer's about to kick in. All the big transits are starting this week. So I just thought, you know what, I just thought of the topic, and let me just, you know, speak straight from my head for about, you know, 10-15 minutes, okay? So hope you guys enjoyed this kind of video. Maybe I'll be able to have some more videos like this where it's just completely outside, live and free, as if, you know, I was just talking to you, you know, face to face. So like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. And until next time, talk to you guys later. Thank you.